The greatness of a person is not measured by their background or by what they currently possess, but is determined by the way they think. This is a timeless truth, proven through the lives of some of the world's most successful individuals, such as Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, and Jeff Bezos. Napoleon Hill, in his famous book Think and Grow Rich, once affirmed, "What you think, you become." But if mindset holds such immense power, why do so many people still struggle with failure? Is it because they do not think about their future? Or because they have never truly recognized the great potential hidden deep within themselves? The answer does not lie in a lack of luck or opportunity, but in how each person perceives themselves. When someone believes they are small and useless, they will remain trapped within those limits. Conversely, when they change their thinking, dare to see their own value and abilities, the path to success gradually opens. Today's story will help you uncover that truth, revealing a profound lesson about mindset, the value of exchange in life, and how a single correct thought can completely change a person's destiny. At a crowded train station where streams of people hurried daily to catch their trains, there lived a beggar who survived on the spare change given by passengers. His life repeated itself in quiet resignation until one day, he noticed a well-dressed businessman stepping onto the platform. With such confidence and wealth in his appearance, the beggar believed he would receive a generous amount of money. However, when he reached out to ask for money, the businessman did not give immediately. Instead, he asked a question that left the beggar stunned. "You only know how to receive from others, but have you ever given anything?" Confused and surprised, the beggar replied that he had nothing except his two empty hands. The businessman smiled and said something profound. "If you believe you have nothing to give, then you have no right to demand to receive." In business and in life, everything is based on exchange. No value can be received unless value is created. After saying that, the businessman walked away, leaving the beggar standing silently in the station, thinking seriously for the first time about his life and his own value. After the encounter with the businessman, the beggar stood quietly for a long time amid the noisy platform. The words were not harsh, yet they struck deeply into his thoughts. For many years, he had only known how to stretch out his hand to beg, never once asking himself what he could offer others. That night, he tossed and turned, unable to sleep, with the sentence echoing endlessly in his mind. To receive, you must first give. 2 days passed, and he did not ask anyone for money. He simply sat and observed the flow of people, reflecting on his own value. On the third day, while sitting near the tracks, he suddenly noticed a cluster of wildflowers blooming brightly. Their vivid colors caught his attention, and an idea flashed through his mind. He asked himself, "What if I don't just take, but also give?" Immediately, he picked a few flowers and returned to his usual spot. When someone offered him money, he smiled and gave them a flower in return. Something unexpected happened. People happily accepted the flowers, some even thanking him with warm eyes and sincere smiles. Day by day, the amount of money he received increased. He realized a clear truth. When he brought value, even something small, people were willing to give more. For the first time in his life, he no longer felt like a beggar, but like someone exchanging value through his own hands and thoughts. One day, while the man was giving flowers in exchange for small coins, he suddenly saw the businessman from years ago sitting on a familiar train. Filled with excitement, he hurried over and said that today he finally had something to give. He proposed an exchange. In return for money, he would offer fresh flowers. The businessman smiled, handed him some money, and accepted the flowers. Then he gently said that the man had truly understood the value of exchange. Now, he was no longer just a beggar, but a true businessman. Those words lingered in the man's mind for a long time. He began to realize that people did not give him money out of pity, but because they received something worthwhile. That moment marked a major shift in his thinking, opening a completely new path for his future. After that brief conversation, the man stood quietly watching the train leave the station. The businessman's words were not merely praise, they awakened an entirely new way of thinking within him. He asked himself, "Am I really a businessman?" The more he reflected, the more he realized a profound truth. Since he began giving flowers to others, he was no longer living on pity. People gave him money because they received value in return, small yet sincere. At that moment, he understood the secret of success. He had never truly been just a beggar. He was a potential trader who had simply never seen himself that way before. The change did not lie in the amount of money he received, but in how he viewed himself. With this new mindset, he made a bold decision. That very day, he left the train station that had long been tied to his life of begging and began a new journey. He believed that when thinking changes, the road ahead also changes. And for the first time in his life, he walked forward with the belief that he could create his own future through the value he brought. 6 months later, at the very same train station, two well-dressed men happened to meet again. They shook hands like equal partners. One looked at the other with curiosity, trying to recall the familiar face. When the truth was revealed, he could not hide his astonishment. The man standing before him had once been the beggar he met before. Now, that man smiled confidently and shared that he had built a successful flower business. He was on his way to expanding into new regions. Hearing this, the businessman could not help but admire him and asked what had created such a remarkable change. The answer was simple. His perception of himself had changed. That day at the station, he realized that he had never been as lowly as he once believed. He had only lacked faith in his own value. When he began to give, to create value, life gradually responded with new opportunities. The two men shook hands once more, each boarding his own train, carrying with them a profound lesson. The future is determined by the mindset we choose every day. The story closes with a simple yet powerful truth. A person's life is shaped by how they see themselves. When you believe you are small, weak, and without value, you confine yourself within narrow limits. But when you dare to look inward and recognize the potential and strength lying dormant within you, the path to success gradually appears. The beggar in the story did not change because of luck or some miracle. He changed only one thing, his mindset. From the moment he understood that to receive, one must first give, his life began to shift. When thinking changes, actions change, and when actions change, results change as well. This lesson is not only for him, but for all of us. Do not belittle your own value or wait for pity from others. Focus on creating value, no matter how small. When you see yourself as strong, capable, and worthy of success, the world around you will begin to treat you that way. Because in the end, today's thoughts create tomorrow's future. This story reminds us that success does not begin with circumstances, but with belief in oneself. When you change the way you think, you change the way you act, and in doing so, you change your entire future. Do not let the limits you create for yourself stop you from moving forward. Everyone carries a unique potential within them, waiting to be awakened. Learn to see yourself as someone with value, capable of giving and deserving of receiving better things. When you dare to step out of old thinking, life will open doors to new opportunities you never noticed before. If this story brings you a meaningful lesson, share it with those around you to spread positive inspiration. Perhaps this very story will become the motivation someone needs to change their thinking and rewrite their future. See you again in the next stories. If this story made you reflect and realize something for yourself, do not hesitate to express your thoughts. A like or a comment sharing the lesson you learned is not only support, but also a way to spread positive value to many others. Life always needs inspiring stories to remind us that changing our mindset can change our destiny. Perhaps one new thought today will become a major turning point for your tomorrow, or for someone else who happens to read this story. Share this story to give encouragement to those who are losing faith in themselves. Thank you for taking the time to listen and accompany us. See you again in the next stories, where we will continue to explore many meaningful lessons about life, mindset, and success.